Hey guys, King of Underworld here, back at it with a new series, possibly depending on how you guys feel about it. I am going to bring you part one of What If Senku Was in My Hero Academia. So, I just want to thank everybody before we start, for, well, again, for reaching 200 subs, which is quite goddamn amazing, because I've only been at this for 2 weeks, and I didn't really expect to have this much support, and everybody's been loving the content so far. So yeah, thank you all for your support, and I hope we can have continual growth in the future. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So in this world, there is a boy that strives to be the smartest and be a hero at the same time. His name is Senku Ishigami. He was born on he was born on a very special day, as it was the founding day of when penicillin was made. As this boy had a certain light about him. His father, Byakuya, had always saw that he was very bright as a child, very smart. In fact, one of the smartest people he's ever met at just the age of 5. As Senku was growing up, he had made friends with two different people. One was a big, loud elf he liked to refer to as Taiju, and one was a caring and sweet friend named Yuzuriha. Now, as they were growing up in kindergarten, Taiji was often very loud and very adamant about becoming a hero. Senku would often reply with, "Keep dreaming, you big elf. I'm 10 billion% sure that I could be a better hero than you ever can. After all, screaming is not a power." "But Senku, I can easily do it with enough hard work. I'm built to last." "Whatever you say, you big elf." As he just laughs along, and as they were as Senku turned 5, his father decided to um take him for a quirk assessment test. And that's when the doctor says, "Ah, Mr. Ishigami, I'm very honored to have such a famous person into my facility. If you wouldn't mind, can I please get your autograph? As Byakuya is very famous for being an astronaut for the Japanese space station program." And he says, "Oh, I don't mind. After all, we are both men of science. Hey, don't forget about me, Pops. Oh yeah, Senku, you're just as brilliant in science as I am, even if more." The doctor just says, "Ah, is he a smart cookie, is he? Well, if I could count a nickel for every time he outsmarted me, boy, I'd be rich." The doctor just starts laughing. He's certainly a bright one. But, let's run a few tests first to find out what his quirk would be. Alright. So, Byakuya waited for a couple of hours as the doctor walks back out. "Alright, your son has a very unique but powerful quirk. We have not come up with a name for it yet, as it has such a broad range of what it can do." As then Senku just pops out and's like, "How about we call it Stone World?" Why why that? I'm like, well, as you're probably about to describe to him, I can petrify objects, but then be able to create a sort of fluid from my hands. However, I need to know the chemical formula of what I'm making, and I decide to use an etching agent as my base component, which allows me to crack the stone off. And I found out, well, we tested that the revival fluid, whenever it's poured onto something that was broken, or something living that was turned to stone, it will heal whatever was damaged. Byakuya just goes, "Ah, I see you. You're already outsmarting the doctor." The doctor was just stunned as he didn't really expect the boy to comprehend all this. And it's like, wow, you're really just 5. And it's like, I'm 10 billion% sure. And I should tell you, a man who praises a man to his face full of ulterior motives. The doctor's just laughing it off as a joke, and Senku's being quite serious. Oh well, that's my boy for you. Always cutting straight to the chase. As we fast forward now to when Taiju starts awakening his quirk. Taiju has a strength and endurance based quirk, very similar to Sato in that sense. However, he just has the the endurance of a gorilla, able to run for kilometers on end without tiring, able to lift up heavy boulders like they were just plastic boxes. As Senku would say, "Ah, so, Taiju, you big oaf. How about you be the brawn to my brain? I'll think of solutions to everything, and you can do the hard work." As Taiju says, "I don't know what you mean by that, as you're much smarter than I am, but sure, Senku." As he just laughs, "Sure, you big oaf." As the years go by, Senku is in middle school, where he is slowly developing a sort of clear liquid inside of his science lab. As Taiji just walks in, "Senku! I'm going to ask out Yuzuriha." Finally, you big oaf. I'm 10 billion% sure you're gonna wimp out, but I could be wrong. Yeah, but it'll be the first time, that is. Yeah, Taiju, as he throws him a the vial that he just had finished creating, as he says, "Take that, you big oaf. That's what we call it. That's a love potion." Really? Yeah, well, love is basically just a bunch of pheromones, and I managed to solidify it. Drink that, and you'll be unresistible to anybody. As the guys just around him's like, "Oh, is he serious? So I can ask out any girl if I want if I had that?" As Daiji just stops and stares at it for a few seconds as he starts pouring it down the drain, and the guys were like, "Why'd you do that?" As Senku just starts laughing. You're smarter than I give you credit for." As he lights a match and throws it into the sink as it just combusts into fire. Everybody going, "What? Whoa." That was gasoline. Anybody dumb enough to, especially you, Taiju, if you were gonna drink that, you would have died. Everybody just around them's like, "Why would you do that, Senku?" Because I knew he wouldn't drink it. I was 10 billion% sure. He's not that type of person. He's an idiot, but he is very noble, in a sense. Alright, I'll be cheering you on all the way from up here. As Senku just goes back to working in his lab as, well, Taiji goes down to meet Yuzuriha down under the conifer tree outside their middle school. As he was about to try and ask Yuzuriha out, he was interrupted as he was saying, "Yuzuriha, I have something to say." It's like, "Oh, what is it, Taiju?" As her phone starts ringing, and it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Taiju. Can I have to take this? It's my dad." No worries." As Senku just looks from the second story of the middle school, and he's just laughing his ass off. As everybody's just said, that's mean. I knew it was gonna happen. I'm never wrong, am I?" Everybody's just giving him a quick stare, and it's just like, well, you're not wrong, but you could at least be you could at least not be hurtful about it. He's a tough one. He'll be fine. As well, Senku starts reminiscing over the years that he and Taiju would hang out together, and Taiju was always wanting to become a brave hero. As he said, Senku, one of these days I'm going to become a great hero. And Senku says, sure, you big elf, you can do whatever you put your mind to. What about you? Are you going to become a scientist? Well, yes and no. I'll become a hero as well. Because I'm going to use the power of science to rescue every single person. As Taiji just starts going, whoa. I'm sure you can do it. You're the smartest person I know. And even I'm 10 billion% sure about that. And Senku just gives him a quick smirk and is like, don't copy me, you big elf. As it cuts back to the present, as Senku just says to the other classmates, I've been friends with Taiji for a long time. He might be a bit rough around the edges and a bit unrefined, but he's one of the most caring people I know. I knew it was going to happen, and I knew he wouldn't care. So, I'm not one for senseless mocking or shame. As everybody just around him goes, okay. Taiju just comes back upstairs and is like, Senku, you were right. And he's like, I know I am, you big elf. We just had a conversation about this with the others. And he's like, oh, Senku. As he just starts laughing. As now the period had just come up and they all have to go back to their class. Senku takes off his lab coats and walk back. The teacher just says to everybody, alright, today class we're going to go fill out some applications for future careers. Everybody just groans as then Senku just picks up from the back of the class. Those aren't the application forms. Those are the hero forms, well, high school forms I should say. But most people will want to put down UA as their school, don't they? As the teacher just like, Senku, you can always predict what I'm going to do, don't you? Am I that predictable? As he just says, not really, Teach, it's just, I always know what's going to happen. As the teacher's like, whatever, and just throws the papers in the air. I know you all want to become heroes anyway. As Senku just smiles and just says, well, me and Taiju are both going to go to UA, that's for sure. Everybody just goes up to, as everybody just says to Senku, saying, wait, you're going to go to UA, but isn't your quirk, not suited to it? Hey, there's nothing you can do if you don't put your mind to it. And I'm a hard worker I'm a hard worker. And I'm 10 billion% sure that even with my quirk I can easily become a hero. Isn't that right, Taiji, you big elf? That's right, Senku. We can both become heroes. As you said, you're the brain and I'm the brawn. Everybody just starts laughing as he didn't realize that he called himself an idiot. As they all just said, well, that makes the most sense. Well, if you can't get into the hero course, you can at least get into the engineering course, the teacher said. Yeah, I could do that. That's what I was planning on going for anyway. There are heroes that people don't see, and that's people that make the gadgets that everybody has. And as over the summer break, that Taiji and Senku were hanging out, and Taiji just asks, "What are you gonna do about the entrance exam?" Huh? No, that. Oh, I can easily get in with just my grades alone, but the open field test that I've heard about, I don't know. I mean, my power has some use to it. It's not just all about restoring damage. I can at least turn things to stone, so whatever I want can be broken. So why? So he starts thinking to himself, I'll be fine, you big elf. I'm more worried about you, to be honest. You might be strong and fast, but are you smart enough to get into the test, into the school? As Taiju goes, don't worry about me, Senku. I'll be just fine. I wouldn't be saying anything if I wasn't worried. I mean, you're a real idiot. As as Taiju goes, that's mean. I'm just telling you the truth. As and as in, well, Senku just says, "Come on, you big elf, let's go get ramen." It's my favorite, so I'll call it my treat. Senku, as Taiji just runs up to him trying to give him a hug. Don't hug me, you big elf. Just eat the damn food when you get given it, and don't say anything else. Okay. Over the next few months, Senku was helping Taiju on increasing his durability and resistance, and by testing a few things out. He noticed that Taiju was able to withstand a lot of pain, which came from his quirk, as he was always very tough before he awakened it, but ever since then he could he could bump and get hit by a car and get back up and walk away like nothing happened. And he'd say, "Okay, big elf, time to give you a bit of a test. How much pain can you handle?" Um, I don't know, Taiji replied. Well, we're about to find out, don't we? Hold on to this. As Senku just starts rummaging around in his bag that he has. It's like, I've got a little contraption I can test out. Senku, what is that? Oh, don't worry about it. Just place your hand right here. As he's like, okay, but I'm trusting you. Well, that was the wrong choice. As Senku just sends him with a thousand volts throughout, 100,000 volts throughout his body. As Taiju at first was going, ah, wait, it doesn't hurt. Of course not. I thought that the electricity wouldn't harm you. Your body's tough. It's almost like it's made of iron, and your durability is off the charts. Hell, if I had you, I could have you power my house 24/7 with just you running on a treadmill. Ugh, I'm gonna start comparing you to a gorilla. But gorillas can't speak, and they're not as loud as you are. So let's test out how much you can withstand. As Senku started pulling out another kit full of dangerous chemicals. Oh, ho, it's been a long time since I played with this. Ammonium nitrate. Some very bad stuff. They use this to melt the corpses when they're done disposing of a body in the Yakuza. Senku, what are you doing? Well, I've noticed that since your skin is tough enough to take electricity to the surface of it well, and not get damaged too badly. Well, if anything happens, you know I can use my quirk. So just trust me. As Taiji just says, okay. And Senku just said again, you really are an idiot, don't trust me, as he throws the chemicals onto Taiji's skin as it starts burning, and Taiji's just going, ah, Senku, it hurts. Yeah, but look at your skin. It's it's only it only just realized or dawned on Taiji that his skin isn't melting. It's just becoming red and irritating, almost like a sunburn. Alright, and I just got my test out of the way. And Senku puts his hand on Taiju's leg, and then all of a sudden it starts turning to stone. As then Senku just starts his hand starts glistening with a weird sheen as he puts his hand back on the leg, and the stone starts peeling off and cracking as the leg's fully healed. The the damage is gone. Wow, Senku, I'm always amazed when you use your quirk. It's very powerful. Yeah, whatever you say, Big Oaf. Sure, it's powerful, but it's got some restrictions. I mean, I can't restore anyone back from the dead. I and I'm not too good with fixing limbs to each other. I tested it out with a few guinea pigs to see if it would work. Don't tell me you use live people. No, you big oaf. I meant like birds. I turned one to stone, broke off its wing, then attached it back. The wing was attached fine, but anything that was left would just turn into cracks. Oh, I see. Yeah, so the more broken the statue is that I make, and the more cracks it has in it, the more likelihood you're gonna have a permanent scar across your body. I see. Well, whatever. As then Senku just says, "Alright, you big elf. I'm going to I'm going to have you put on a strict regimen to make you one of the strongest gorillas out there. How does that sound?" "That sounds amazing!" As then Taiju just says, "What are we doing?" "So you agreed to it without knowing what we were doing. You really are an idiot. But I'm 10 billion% sure you could easily become one of the strongest." As then Senku just walks over and says, "Follow me, you big oaf." And then they start walking over and it's like, "A beach? Why'd you take me here?" Senku just says, You big oaf, you're gonna clean it." "All by myself?" "Yep. You're strong, you're fast, and you have almost unlimited stamina. You'll be fine." As then he just takes aback by a bit, and just starts saying, "Well, all right. If you say that's what I need to do, I will do it." "Good, very good. It's a slow but steady effort, but you're going to beat the entrance exam with your sheer might. But I'm going to beat it with science." "All right. Well, have fun." Now, Senku just starts walking away, and they're just like, "Where are you going?" "Well, I mean, you don't need me here to clean it up. It's kind of the whole reason why I brought you here." "But what about where am I supposed to move this all?" And it's like, I got Dad to arrange that already. He should be. There should be a truck that'll be out here taking all this to the dump. Have fun. The council's already paid for it, so you don't need to worry about using your quirk too much, and just try to stay out of trouble. All right. I believe. As then, after 10 months of just pure training, Taiju has become a massive beast, able to pick up fridges over his shoulder and throw them around like they're just bowling balls. He and being able to just throw somebody a few dozen meters just by a sheer flick. As then And Senku just says, "Alright, gonna run a few more tests before the exam begins." As then Senku starts pulling out a bunch of machines and just says, "Run on this." As Taiju just starts running 100 meters uh, in just a sheer 2 seconds flat. Lord, you're you're quite fast now, aren't you, Taiju? God, what have I created? Just another power of science. As then he pulls out another gizmo. Alright. Throw this as hard as you can. As he throws the gadget and Senku looks at his phone. Well, you big elf. Aren't you strong? As he shows him the phone and it registers over 900 meters. It's like, I'll go get that for you, Senku. And it's like, it's in the ocean, you big elf. I know you can hold your breath for like more than a minute, but still, it's going to take forever to find. Taiju just starts running out to the sea anyway, and it's like, God damn it, you big elf. Then he comes back with a ball within 30 seconds. What the? God, your sheer might amazes me sometimes. I'll take that as a compliment, Senku. I didn't really mean it as one, but sure. As then, he continues to go through more tests, and it says, "Alright, now squeeze this as hard as you can." As he just breaks the machine, it's like, God damn it, big elf. I'll replace it. And it's like, no, that's not what I meant. Well, I can't get an accurate result if the machine's broken because you already maxed it out. That was more than 500 kilos on your grip. As Taiju just says, "What? 500 kilos? Yeah, you can crush metal with your bare hands. How do you like that for a quirk?" As Taiju's just sheerly amazed at what he can do. See, there's nothing you can't do if you try, Taiju. They would have told you, "Oh, do some sit-ups, do some running." Now this is the power of science. Quirks are, well, from what we understand, quirks are just physical manifestations of the body, so that means you can train them. And with your sheer stamina, you can train days on end without tiring. So it only made sense that I'd be able to create a monster like you. And who knows, Taiju, if you work even harder, you might be able to ask out Yuzuriha. As he just goes, "Yeah, I'm fired up, Senku." Well, make sure you get into UA first. As then he says, "Well, try and study for the next week or so. The entrance exam's only a week away." As Taiji says, "Wait, what? Wait, is it March already?" He's like, "Yep. You've been training all this time and you didn't notice, you big elf? Man, you're one dumbass, alright." As then Senku just walks off again. Taiji just shouts at him, "Thank you, Senku." As and basically he just keeps walking. The next week passes, and Senku is just walking into the entrance exam hall as he hears big, loud, roaring, thundering Taiju running towards him. "Senku!" As Senku just trips him over. "Good lord, big elf, it's so early in the morning." "God, do you ever shut up?" "No, I do not," he replied. "And you know I'm a morning person." Yeah, I can tell." As then, Senku starts walking over. "Follow me, big elf. We're going to the entrance exam hall." "Already?" He's like, Yeah, have to be 10 billion% sure which seat I want. Alright, Senku. As they start sitting up in the back row, and everybody starts pouring in after about 5 minutes or so. Professor Mike starts explaining how the exam's going to be broken up into two sections: the written test and the hero/quirk test. Now, the written test will be as implied. It will be a measure of your academic abilities and your smarts, and the hero/quirk test will be to evaluate your quirk and how useful you can use it in a real life situation. And as Senku just says to Taiju, quietly, well, not really quietly, but what he considers quiet, to Taiju at least, just says, "Hey, Big Oaf, they should realize that this system's really outdated. A quirk like mine would never be recognized for what it actually is, because I can restore lost limbs by turning them to stone, then healing them. And they'll never see it as that way, they'll just see it as petrification. They don't really notice the true potential of what it can do." As Taiji just says, "Yeah, you're right, Senku. People like me that have very strong quirks is always overshadowed, always overshadows people with more diverse quirks like yours." And Senku just looks at him weirdly. "When did you become smart?" "When I saw you, Zuriha, trying her best, I had to." "Oh, that explains a lot. I was 10 billion% sure you had nothing inside that head of yours." "Hey!" "What, I'm just being honest." As then a blue-haired boy stands up from and turns around and just starts berating the two. Can you two keep it down? We're all trying to listen here." As then Senku just speaks up. "Can you shut up, you moron? You're causing more of a disturbance than we are. And I wasn't one making the scene, it was this big oaf here." As then Ida just starts berating. Ida just like turns around and just sits down after being told off by Senku. There we go. Glasses finally shut up. That wasn't very nice, Senku. Whether it's nice or not, it was clearly being a bigger distraction than we were. As we move over to the written portion, and Senku aces the test and even corrects one of the exam questions, stating how it was wrong on a theoretical science question. As when Nezu hears about that was written by Nezu himself, one of the smartest people in the world, as well, he gets a word from one of the teachers saying, "Sir, one of the students had written a weird answer." "Oh, what was the answer?" Um, they actually gave you the correct one. It's just they corrected you." "What? What do you mean they corrected me?" "Well, they pointed out what was wrong with the formula and said how you can make it better." Edison's like, "Who's this student?" It says Ishigami Senku." "That Ishigami?" As the teacher just nods. "Yes, that one." "I see, so he's the son of that scientist." "Okay, I can see why he's so smart now. He could get into UA just on academics alone." As he just pulls one of the teachers aside, "Have him have a special eye on him." "Okay, Principal Nezu." As then we move along over to the quirk assessment test, as Taiju just says, "Wait, we're not in the same area." "No, you big oaf, it's to stop people from teaming up together that happen to know each other. Stops people from I guess it gives people a harder time." As then, as they started walking to their own arenas, as Senku just notices um the same blue-haired boy from earlier. As he walks past him, he's like, and Ida just says, "Hey, aren't you gonna apologize for what you said earlier?" He's like, "Apologize for what? You're making a scene, not me." It's like, "But you were the one talking in the first place." It's like, "I was being quiet. It was my friend who was being the loud one. And then you didn't exactly help either." As Ida was about to say something, but then but then, well, eats his own words. As then, as then the exam starts up, and President Mike says, "All right, we'll be taking down robots in this cityscape. Robots with three on them are worth 3 points, two worth two, and one worth one." As then, Ida just shouts out real quick before everybody starts. "What about the 0 point robot on the information card we were handed out?" As Senku just turns around, "It's obvious, you idiot. It's meant to be a distraction, something to hinder us." As then President Mike says, "That's exactly right, young man. It's meant to be a distraction, so don't focus on it too much." As Ida then just turns around and says, "You don't have to put it that way. I was just stating the truth. I'm 10 billion percent sure about what I said." Then, once, as the exam gates start opening up, Senku just starts running out. As everybody's like, "What is he doing?" As he just says, what kind of hero waits for the buzzer before a battle?" As he starts running out, and then just sees these giant robots, bigger than he expected. "Oh, well, I'm gonna have a bit of a hard time, aren't I?" As then he picks up a stone to see how hard the outer casing of these robots are. He picks up a rock and he's like, "If I throw it about this hard at this angle, let's see if it'll do something." As he threw the rock as hard as he could, it hit the robot in a weird way, and it just collapsed to the ground and exploded. Huh. So if I hit right there, and he just starts getting an evil grin on his face. Oh, this is gonna be fun. 10 billion% sure this is gonna be worth my time. As he starts picking up a few pieces of debris and starts throwing it right under where the cords tangled together and causing the robots to misfire and explode. Without realizing, he's already racked up a numerous amount of points. And goes, "I wonder how that big elf's doing." For all I know, he'd be picking up the robots and throwing them at each other. Just like the gorilla. As he notices um, a green-haired boy, jumping, running around and almost being hit by a robot. As Senku just throws a rock at him and is like, "Come on, you idiot. You have to pay attention. This is a quirk assessment test. Keep your eyes on the game, otherwise you're 10 billion% dead." As the boy goes, uh, uh, okay. As then, well, as then a rumbling can be heard. Senku puts his head to the ground and goes, 500 meters away, and it's getting closer. Must be the 0 pointer. As he didn't see a 0 point robot before, but he could feel the rumbling. And then a huge robot with a 0 printed on its face started emerging from behind the buildings. As just then a giant pieces of rubble start flying everywhere from the buildings that are being collapsed. As a girl got trapped and calling out for help. He thought to himself, "I'm going to use science to rescue every single person." Now, this might be a bit of a disadvantage, but what scientist isn't at a disadvantage? As he runs over to where the track the tracks are for the robot and starts turning him to stone. Uh, He gets inside. He manages to find where where the tracks connect to the actual foot of the robot and turns them both to stone, stopping it in its tracks. However, it is slowly it's slowly breaking and going to move forward as he tries to push up and lift some of the rubble. He manages to um, be able to pull the girl out. As then another piece of rubble starts flying towards him, but a sonic boom can be heard as the rubble flies away, and then a massive thundering smash as he looks up and says, "What the hell?" The green-haired boy before who he'd saved was above the robot, and the robot's face was caved in. So that was his power. As then he could see, the boys falling down. Ah, shit! He's gonna hit the ground in 4 seconds. Quick, what's your quirk? Zero gravity. As she just says, as Senku just says, slap him now. And she goes, what? Slap him! As the girl slapped the green-haired boy across the face, and he started floating right before he hit the ground. Ugh, just in time. As then the buzzer for the announcement saying the test is now over had just blared out. The green-haired boy was just lying there, in pain, and slowly faded into unconsciousness. As then recovery girl walks up over to him and started handing out candy to people, then walked over to the young green-haired boy. Oh, this boy did a number on himself. Look at those legs, and the arms are broken as well. My, what a dangerous quirk. As Senku walks over, so you must be a recovery girl. And you must be the brilliant young man I've heard about from Ishigami. Oh, so you met my father? Oh, yes, we used to work together in our heyday. Oh, well, I did not know that one. The old man doesn't really tell you much. I wonder what he's doing up there now as he looks up to the sky, and as his father had just recently gone to the Japanese space station about 5 weeks ago. That Byakuya is definitely a handful, isn't he? Yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. Anyway, I assume you're gonna try and heal him. Yes, is there anything wrong with that? Let me. You've got a recovery quirk? I thought your quirk turned things to stone. Well, people often don't pay attention to quirks, thinking that they're just weak just based on how hard they can hit. People don't know I can do this, as Senku just starts turning the green-haired boy to stone. And the recovery goes, "Stop, what are you doing?" Yelling him, as the boy had just been turned completely to stone. Then then from his hand he creates the miracle fluid. Well, nitol is what it actually is. He explains, if I use the nitol produced by my hands after turning somebody to stone, whatever injury they had beforehand would be completely erased. However, if somebody had lost a limb, I can put it back on, yet it will leave a black mark, a black scar across the body. I see, as the boy the boy's outer casing of stone shattered off his body, and his arms completely healed as well as his legs. They weren't twisted and mangled anymore. There you go. Alright, I'm gonna take my leave. As Senku just walks back and out the entrance exam hall, as a loudmouth walks up behind him and says, Senku! How do you reckon you went? Shut up, big oaf. I reckon I went 10 billion% sure that I got in just from the points alone in the exam. What about you, big oaf? I reckon I got in for sure. That's good. How about as a reward we can have ramen again. On me. You really mean it, Senku? Yep, you big oaf. Call it a victory. As this is where I'm gonna leave part 1 off. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you listen to all the way, I'm just gonna quickly shout out a few things before I end the video. I would like to thank everybody that had gotten me up to over 200 subscribers now. I'm sorry, I'll be putting out part 4. I had to push back part 4 of the What If Deku Was a King's Vessel to tomorrow, because today I've been swamped with videos. I've had to edit and put out the collaboration. Well, I didn't have to put out the collaboration on my channel, but we had the collaboration with Crown Fiend. I had to put out the podcast video, and now recording this one, and so it is very late at night at the moment. So I do not want to burn myself out with it just yet. So it's going to be out today, tomorrow, or the day after, but it will be coming out later. So thank you all for watching, and peace out.